Party continues in Baltimore, and Jeff Siegel, the only question remaining. When are you and I off?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, this is fun back here, and it's actually stopped raining, so people now can really enjoy themselves. Nobody enjoying himself more than perhaps one of the owners, George Bolton of Curlin. He's got a lot to celebrate.
That's right, part of the winning team following Curlin's stirring victory in the Preakness Stakes. He's standing by with Millie Ball.
I'm happy to be here with George Bolton, who's part owner of the Preakness winner, Curlin. You said that you don't come out too often, but you picked the right day today.
Well, I was saying it's rare for George Bolton to have a horse in a big race, let alone win one, and it's a dream come true.
And you're from this area growing up, so that must mean quite a lot to you.
Yeah, my parents have a farm only 10 miles from here, so I grew up here, and now I live in San Francisco, but I did grow up here, very close to the Pimlico racetrack.
Now, you bought this horse privately. What were the lines that Steve Asmussen gave you to sell this horse to you as a buyer?
Well, it's a really interesting story. Steve had one horse start at Gulfstream, and it was in Helen Pitts' barn, pre and post the race, and he saw Curlin run, and so did my horse agent, John Moynihan. And John and Steve both called and said, you know, this could be a serious horse. And John got, to his credit, in a car from Ocala and drove down to Gulfstream and made an offer on the horse Super Bowl Sunday.
That's terrific, and here you are at the Preakness. You're a little unlucky in the Derby. You had not the best of trips. Tell us about the trip and what was going through your mind as you were watching the Preakness Stakes today.
Well, he went down to his knees coming out of the gate, and so instead of being 5 or 6 lengths off, we were farther back. I was encouraged when Robbie at least had an outside position going into the back stretch that we wouldn't be bottled up like we were in the Derby. Curlin's kind of a tight end. He's not one of these that zips through a little hole that opens up, but when you get him cranked up, you know, the talent's there.
And he really showed some guts coming down the lane there. He's got this big old sort of stride that just eats up ground.
We always laugh. You bump him, you go down.
You're absolutely right there. Well, the rest of the field went down. You took the winning money today. Congratulations on the win.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm so proud of him. I mean, in 5 starts, he's shown so much, and the Derby's a very hard race to win. This is a very, very hard race to win, and Street Sense is a fabulous horse, so we're very honored.
George Bolton, guys, he is the winning owner partnership of Curlin.
Almost as excited as Jeff Siegel was after UCLA defeated USC at the Rose Bowl this year. I mean, let's not go crazy. But
I tell you what, I wouldn't be as excited. I would be very happy to be as excited as George Bolton, because while he won it, our horse didn't run quite as well.
Did he come back all right?
Seemed to be King of the Roxy. You know, he was in a good spot, and he just ran his race. Unfortunately, there's some nice horses in that race.
You know what?
Better than him.
It's the big 3, a huge gap in everybody else. Even Circular Key, who became somewhat of a buzz horse. I figured that he perhaps needed the Kentucky Derby off for 2 months. He hadn't gone beyond a mile and a 16th, that devastating move we saw in the Louisiana Derby. He had a perfect setup for a closer. Mile bid, flattened out.
You're right. It does look like the 3 have separated themselves. The same 3 that hit the board in the Kentucky Derby, right back at it at the Preakness. There's not a whole lot to choose between Street Sense and Curlin. Hartspun, he's good as well. And I don't know if there's another 3-year-old out there than the waiting in the wings. I don't know if there's another Bernardini that we haven't seen. There's some very promising colts out there. But these 3 colts are very, very special.
And it'll be interesting to see, while we had a small field for the Preakness, whittled down from 20 to 9, how many horses go to the Belmont Stakes now? The only horse that really comes to mind is Jerry Moss's Tiago.
That's about it. They're hoping for Tiago to run well in the Belmont, because he's got that style. I'm the crazy guy who ran well in the Derby, closed a lot of ground. You know, but other than that, I'm not really thinking too much about where the other contenders might come from. Maybe Europe, I don't know. But the Belmont...
Go, it worked for them.
It sure did. The Belmont, though, you know, losing perhaps a little bit of its luster because there is no Triple Crown at Straight. Chaloki, we saw him win this afternoon.
He was awesome today.
Winning the Barbaro. I mean, there's no reason why he can't come back and maybe do some damage at the Belmont. I don't know. But I tell you what, whoever shows up at the Belmont, if Curlin does, if Street Sense does, they're going to have their hands full.
Check in now with the winning trainer, Steve Asmussen, standing by with Millie Ball. Millie.
I'm here with Steve Asmussen. I guess it's 3rd time lucky, right?
Yes, very much so. The elated Steve Asmussen, yes.
Tell us about what was going through your mind as the gates broke and he stumbled.
But, you know, my heart skipped a beat, you know, and then Robbie was leaning on him early in the race, and I was just so worried it was going to be a replay of the Derby. But, you know, things worked out for him extremely well. Robbie gave him a great ride, and the horse proved good enough. And, you know, we're very fortunate, but it's all because of Curlin being good enough.
You know, before the race, I took a look at him, and I described him as a Santa Anita Derby horse. I mean, he's that handicap horse. He's that kind of 4-year-old, 5-year-old, going on 6-year-old looking type of horse.
Very mature. You know, everybody talks about his inexperience and stuff, but every time we've let him over, we thought we had the best horse, and we were happy to be in his camp. In the best, one of the best things about today is now everybody feels the same way we've always felt about him. And this is who Curlin is. He's a classic winner. He is good enough for this.
He's got unbelievable talent as well.
And that's what it's all based on.
And do you feel like coming out of the Kentucky Derby, you actually learned quite a lot about him and his way of running?
Well, I think the one thing that it made us very comfortable with is how much effort is in him. When everything went his way, he won, but it didn't go his way in the Derby, and he never gave up, and he continued on. And Street Sense kind of getting the jump on him today. There's so much fight in this talented horse, and he's a very special individual, and we're all very fortunate to be a part of it.
Do you get a feeling that he just eats up more distance?
Well, I think we're very pleased with it today. You know, with him winning the Preakness, you know, nothing's guaranteed to us in the future. Our concern now is for him to be in the same mental health as well as physical condition that he came into this race, which is similar to his previous races, and that's what we need to focus on.
So you'll have 3 weeks really to focus on that. If all being well, would you be thinking about the Belmont?
Absolutely. You know, those races, this is what he is meant for. This is the caliber of race he was intended for. He goes back to Churchill first thing in the morning. We like to train him there, you know, where we're familiar with how he acts and what he responds to, and he'll let us know if he wants to go to the Belmont.
If you had to use one word to describe today, what would it be?
One word will never get near today. There's so many emotions from my family as well as the horses, everybody involved. It will never be broke down to one word for me.
We wish you all the best in the future with Curlin, and congratulations on behalf of HRTV. Steve Asmussen, he's the winning trainer of the Preakness, guys.